In those days, as we heard the donkey, and what was the donkey's name?
Domino.
Domino. How could I forget? I had a grandmother that played dominoes. Only time I ever saw her mean was when she had a domino in her hand. In those days, Caesar Augustus declared that everyone throughout the empire should be enrolled in the tax list. And this first enrollment occurred when Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to their own cities to be enrolled. Now, this is normally a Christmas Eve text or a Christmas Day text, but I've been sharing with you the Christmas story, and we started at the beginning of Luke 3 weeks, well, this is our fourth week to do it, so 3 weeks ago. And we've shared the stories of Mary and Elizabeth, of Zachariah and Elizabeth, and of Zachariah's prayer last week. And at the very end of that prayer that precedes these words, "And you, child, will be called a prophet of the Most High, for you will go before the Lord to prepare his way, and you will tell the people how to be saved through the forgiveness of their sins, because of God's deep compassion." The dawn of heaven will break upon us to give light to those who are sitting in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide us on the path of peace. And the child grew up, and this is John the Baptist, becoming strong in character, and he was in the wilderness until he began his public ministry to Israel. And then, what we just started to read a few moments ago. Now, since Joseph belonged to David's house and family line, he went up from the city of Nazareth in Galilee to David's city called Bethlehem in Judea, and he went to be enrolled with Mary. Oh, yeah. Who's with him?
Mary.
He went to be enrolled with Mary, who was promised to him in marriage, and who was pregnant. And as we learned a couple of weeks ago, that's a little bit awkward. Now, while they were there, the time came for Mary to have her baby. And again, a couple of weeks ago, we heard it's not easy being Mary, especially if you're in a Christmas pageant. Oh, yeah, that one. While they were there, the time came for Mary to have her baby. She gave birth to her firstborn child, a son, wrapped him snugly like a burrito. Wrapped him snugly, laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. Now, this will say in their guest room. Yeah. That word is hard to get into English. It's just the easiest way to put it. Nearby, there were shepherds. All right, shepherds. And they were living in the fields, guarding their sheep at night. And the Lord's angel stood before them, and the Lord's glory shone around them, and they were terrified. They were afraid. Oh, that's 3 weeks ago. Okay? When you hear the word afraid, and it's coming close to Christmas, what are the words? Don't be afraid. All right. And the angel said?
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. Fear not is a traditional language. Actually, that's the English traditional. There's the Greek, and there are all kinds of. All right. Don't be afraid. Look, I bring good news to you. Wonderful, joyous news for all people. Wonderful, joyous news for
all people.
Your Savior is born today in David's city. He is Christ the Lord. And this is a sign for you. You will find a newborn baby wrapped snugly and lying in a manger. And suddenly a great assembly of the heavenly forces was with the angel praising God. And they said, Glory to God in heaven, and on earth peace among those whom God favors. And then, when the angels returned to heaven, the shepherds said to each other, let's go right now to Bethlehem and let's see what's happened. Let's confirm what the Lord has revealed to us. And they went quickly and found Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in the manger. And when they saw this, they reported what they had been told about this child. And everyone who heard about it was amazed at what the shepherds told them. And Mary committed these things to memory, treasured them in her heart, and considered them carefully. And the shepherds returned home, glorifying, praising God for all they had heard and seen. And everything happened just as they had been told. Now, I've entitled this Tracks. What's the rest of the title? All over the place. And you can't preach behind the pulpit and give tracts all over the place.
That's right.
No, I'm really not going to do that to you. But I am going to step on some of your assumptions. All right? You're like, no. The first one is the shepherds. What kind of people were shepherds?
Lowly. They were considered lowly.
Lowly. Today we wouldn't say somebody is lowly, would we?
No.
We might call them low lifes. We might call them marginalized. We might call them scum. We might call them any number of things, but lowly is much too religious a word. And the shepherds are full of what as they go to the manger? Wonder, amazement, and hope, and
Fear. Were they fearful?
fearful? Yeah, well, when they saw the angel, yeah. Whoa. No more drinking after 5. Okay, yeah. But they're also full of,
Anticipation.
oh, I heard it over here. They're full of joy. Whoa! To us. To us. The marginalized, the scum, the lowlifes, the unwanted. Now, remember that they're going to see Mary and Joseph, and we always have a reverent kind of nativity scene as best we can, do we not?
Yes.
We work hard to get those first graders to bow their heads. Or if we have a live nativity, we work hard to get the various characters to... They're in a barn. What happens in a barn? No, you don't have to say it out loud.
It happened.
It happens. Yes, it does happen. And the shepherds are taking care of what? Sheep, who are always very polite and nice, aren't they? And they have ewes and rams. It's called the land. There's all kinds of stuff on the bottom of their sandals, is there not?
Yes.
And this nice, neat, antiseptic nativity that we often imagine in our own minds. And it looks so lovely here, except somebody's knocked over a sheep.
It's the baby in the manger.
It's the baby in the manger. Actually, that's really kind of helpful for my sermon because We have this idealized image of what it must have looked like, and in reality, the shepherds are full of joy, and they're running into the least antiseptic place in the world. It's the men's room at a truck stop. Oh, you didn't have to go there. No, I didn't, but the shepherds did. Thank you. Tracks all over this. See, I'm stepping all over your idealized vision of Christmas, and I'm doing it only because I want you to understand something that's remarkably important about tomorrow night and Christmas Day. And that is that the shepherds are full of joy. And sometimes, this is my second step all over you. I'm going to sit down and look at Barb. Okay. It's okay to hurt, and it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to cry. I have a real simple attitude about grief. If it doesn't matter, it doesn't hurt. If it matters a lot, it hurts a lot. And it's okay for this to hurt. Even though you know your mom's okay, it still hurts. I've done lots of stuff at Christmas and lots of funerals. One year we had 4 services. Half an hour before the first service, we got a phone call. The matriarch of the church had just died. Great family. It's actually one of the rare occasions where the matriarch and the patriarch were both from the same family. Tough night. And then about 15 minutes before the 11 o'clock service, I was sitting in the offices and the phone rang again, and I went, somebody's trying to figure out if there's a midnight service, and so I answered it, and it was one of our parishioners, and his 22-year-old son had just died. Same night. Some nights, it just hurts. But what's that? But there's joy in the morning, Psalms, yes. But there's also joy in the evening. You see, joy is not like happiness. Happiness depends on everything being okay, or that I'm okay anyway. Joy says, I'm here because God is present and because God is love. Joy to the world, for God so loved the world. And we can have joy even when it hurts. And I've cried through some Christmas Eve services. But I knew joy. Because the shepherds, they didn't have anything. They didn't have squat. They had a lot. They had the knowledge. And they were full of joy. And they went rejoicing and they came back rejoicing. And yet, they were least of all. And so today, no matter what your circumstances, and before tomorrow and tomorrow night, I want to say joy and something special. And I already warned Barb. But I didn't warn anybody else. So this will take just a little bit of doing here. All right. I just use that sack. I got you all a box of Kleenex. You each have one tissue. No, I'm kidding. Sort of. But it's a reminder. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are good days to cry. Because we love and because we care, it's okay to hurt. But there are other things about Christmas, and you all surprised you surprised me this morning. I did not anticipate seeing a single Christmas gift. My brain just isn't there today. And I walked in and there were Christmas gifts all over the place, and I felt like I was in the 5th grade again and was just full of little giddy joy. And it was like, oh my gosh, how could you possibly be doing this for me? And then I laughed because why am I here? To love you. Because it hurts right now. And to love on you and say, it's going to be okay. And to love on you and say, joy to the world. And there are lots of ways to do that. And I have a tradition that goes back years, and I'm not going to go into all of it, but I shared the idea with Barb, and it turns out my tradition just got bigger. So did yours, by the way. And that it involves Snickers. That's all I'm going to say. But it... Oh, yeah. There we go. We talked about this before. And I will share the story with you fully at another time. But it involves love of friends, and love of my mother, and love of my father. And may that Snickers bless you, and may you eat it smiling the whole time. Right.
I will.
You will.
Yeah, I will.
You will. Well, I figure it's not nice to share just one piece of candy.
I'm not sharing mine.
Okay, we kind of digress there a little bit. No, you don't have to, because you see,
This is mine.
I've got all kinds of candy. And there's a part of me that just, I get it from my mother. And it is, when you start feeding people, you've got to be excessive. You know, you just never know when somebody's going to be there and say, but, you know, I don't like that, or I don't. And actually, it also comes from my grandmother, because I was that kid. I was highly allergic as a child. I was allergic to the world when I was young. But I couldn't eat, and if you name it, I can say I couldn't eat it. Almost everything. Beets, I guess I could eat beets all my life. And they came and went, and so my grandmother always had to cook me my own special meal. And so I got to thinking, I've got chocolate and I've got chocolate, but somebody out there can't eat chocolate, because I couldn't eat chocolate when I was growing up. And some of those things have peanuts, and some of you can't eat peanuts. And so then I thought, well, I'll just start getting, you know, all these kind of, these, my goodness, I even got Rokas. Oh boy. You know. Yeah, you know, and I've got Cliff Bars, and I've got, I don't even know what that is. Let's see, I thought I had protein bars, yes. Well, anyway, so if you're a health fruit, all right, there's those. But then I thought, you know what? Some of you may feel you're still left out. And some of you are thinking right now, I know who I'm going to share, because he's going to give us extra, isn't he? And you're already thinking about somebody you're going to share with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. And you're going to go up to Gillette when?
I'll probably leave Wednesday because of weather, but if not, for sure, Thursday.
Thursday, okay. So you're going to be traveling somewhere between here and there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So we got money. Now, no, I'm serious. You're looking and going, he isn't doing, I am doing this. But this is not just for you. What's the point? To share it how? Lovingly and with
Joy.
joy to the world,
The Lord.
for God so loved the world. And so I'm going to pass out money. You do not have to tell me. Just take it. You may know, by the way, Troy was up there a while ago, and there are people who work emergency services. There are people who work with law enforcement. There are all kinds of people that they might like a warm cup of coffee on a snowy day this coming week. Or they may like to know that when you go through the checkout stand at Safeways, what if everybody from this church handed the clerks one piece of candy and said, "Bless you, thank you for working today"? Or what if you stopped at a gas station and walked up to the clerk and said, "Bless you, I have this crazy minister." Go do something in Jesus' name with joy and love and give thanks for who we are together. And so there's no special music, because the special music is going to be us being noisy about going through things of candy and things of dollars and things, so, okay. So Xander, can I invite you to come up and help me? Well, somebody join Xander so he's not stuck. Come on, Maya. All right. Yeah, everybody got her name. Yes. All right. So grab a bowl, grab this, grab money, whatever you want. And I need some more. Who else has? All right, come on. Come help. Now, once you have fun. By the way, this is not the first time I've ever done this in this way, but this is the first time I've done it this way. All right, somebody, the power bar person. Who's the power bar person? Mom?
Sophie.
Sophie? Oh, don't put her on. She's not.
I'll just do the power.
All right, now don't throw them at people.
Okay.
All right, remember, take more than one of anything and everything. Go for it.
Go.
Now look at each other and smile as it's happening. Don't go, "Oh God, I've got to look very serious." Were the shepherds nice and polite when they were seeing Mary? They made noise, they laughed, they giggled, they rejoiced. Y'all are being way too polite. Come on. Would you like one of these?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. So, as I said, I'll tell you the story. And it's just a wonderful, fun story that started off very playfully.
Yeah.
And then as time passed, it became a way of reminding ourselves that we're there for each other and that we love each other. And it has multiple partners. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm going to share.
Yep. So who feels like they're a good shot and can hit Troy up there?
Me.
You want to give it a try?
You bet. You don't have to move over, baby. I'll call Kate.
Oh!
All right, here.
Okay.
I made it halfway.
Who would like to run up there with some candy for them?
I will.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Come up with something creative.
And she just had that in her repertoire.
All right. Now, if you didn't get what you wanted, please come forward after the service if you're shy. There'll be some in the office, obviously. Come by and visit me. And just know that today I left tracks all over your sentimentality. and all over your assumptions. But I want you to hear again that shepherds who had no place found place, and they who had no joy were filled with joy. And you, no matter what your circumstances, the God of creation is the God of love. And the God of love so loved the world, the cosmos, that He gave us the only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him shall have life, everlasting life. And even those who don't believe, says Luke, you've still got place in God's love, now and forever, and amen and amen. All right, so if we're doing the kind of game where when the music stops, it's yours.
We got it.
All right.
We got it.
All right.
Good job, Bill.
Oh, thank you.